I was riding in the car on the way to come here to service today, and one of my favorite songs came on the radio. It's by Pink. It's called God is a DJ. And she has these lines that I really love in the song. It says, if God is a DJ, life is a dance floor. Love is the rhythm, and you are the music. If God is a DJ, life is a dance floor. You get what you're given. It's all how you use it. And I thought that was pretty appropriate for what we're talking about this month. Our theme this month is service. And our annual theme is Take the Leap. And the reason why I picked the annual theme, I talked about it in another service, but it was because I watched this town hall meeting from Centers for Spiritual Living, and there was a woman who came on stage. She was a minister, and she talked about how she had a tree planted in her honor. And the woman asked the person who planted the tree, how long before the tree grows really big? And he said, well, the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, and the third year it leaps. Now, this is our third year in operation of having weekly services. And so we are taking the leap. And I think it's an invitation for each one of you to find out where in your life you want to take the leap. And so each month we're going to explore different aspects for you to leap out of your fear, leap out of the things that are getting in your way. I was thinking about that. We had a mini retreat, a women's mini retreat yesterday, and we did this exercise, and we talked about living the life of our dreams. And how come we're not living the life of our dreams? What's in the way of us living the life of our dreams? And if you really get down to it, it's fear. It's fear. And what are we afraid of? We're usually afraid of our bigness. Or we're afraid we're going to fail. We're afraid we're going to fail. Kathy told a story about her mother. And she believes that her mother is a big inspiration to her. And one of the things that her mother told her when she wanted to do this thing that she was really scared of doing is the worst thing that you can do is fail. So why don't you try it and fail at it? Well, then what? You're still alive. But if you don't try it, you'll never either fail or succeed at it. So what in your life are you not willing to do because you're afraid of failing? Or maybe you're afraid of succeeding. You mean I am worth it? You mean I can have it all? You mean life really supports me in the way that I dreamed it would? And I'm here to tell you yes. And the reason that some things don't come into fruition is because there might be something better out there for you. Your soul might have a calling that's deeper and more profound than you can imagine. And maybe the things that are your doors closing are the reason you need to go another direction. Because there is somewhere for you. And part of us lose ourselves. We can't figure out, well, what am I supposed to be doing? What is this life all about? And we have this really lovely quote up here from Mahatma Gandhi. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service to others. And so that's why we picked service this year. Why be of service? If you want to learn to drive, you get behind the wheel. If you want to learn to ride, you get on a bike. If you want to learn to use a computer, you use the keyboard and the mouse. And if you want to live a divine life, a holy life, then you act godly. And the way you act godly is by serving others. by uplifting every person around you? What if each and every one of us used every moment of our day to uplift and honor and love every person around us? Instead of the person who's having a hard day, instead of being angry at them for being rude, how can I uplift that person? How can I be of service? While I was in Bali, the minister, one of the ministers that was there, Reverend Edward from Santa Rosa Center, he told us a story of a rabbi in a monastery. And in this monastery, there was a bunch of monks, and they were meditating every day. And they were really, really old. And they noticed that their monastery was falling apart. It used to be a thriving place, and nobody was coming anymore. And they would meditate every day, and they would always, every once in a while, they would feel this energy in the woods. And they knew that there was a rabbi who came, and he got his vacation. He had like a little hermitage in the woods, and every once in a while when he needed a break, he would go to his hermitage in the woods, and he would just be there. And when they meditated, they could feel this rabbi. And they knew that he was a powerful, powerful master. And so the monks decided, you know what? Maybe we should ask the rabbi for some advice, because obviously what we're doing is not working. And so one of the monks went over and knocked on the door of the little hermitage, and the rabbi said, "Oh, come in, come in." And the monk went in and talked about all the woes, "Oh, nobody's coming anymore." And the rabbi says, "Oy vey, the same is happening in my community." And, and the monk says, "Oh, well, I just don't feel the inspiration anymore." And the rabbi says, "Oy, me too. I know what you're talking about." And the monk says, "Well, it just seems like, you have this presence. Whenever we meditate, we can feel when you're here. We can feel it. There's something about you." And he says, "Oh, I don't know. And so he was like, "Okay." Well, they finished up their tea together, and he says, "Well, God bless you, and also with you, God bless you." And so the monk, closes the door, and then the rabbi says, "Oh, there is one thing. One of you is the Messiah." Then he closes the door. And the monk's like, What? And so he goes home, and he talks, and he says, and the brothers say, "Well, what did he say?" He said, "Oh, well, they're having the same problem. The Jews are having the same problem." And, he didn't really give me any advice, but just when he went to close the door, he said, "One of us is the Messiah." And they were like, "Huh. Well, which one is it?" And he said, "Well, I don't know." And they all looked at each other, and they thought, well, it could be, it could be this brother, but he's kind of angry and crotchety. But then, you know what? He does seem to be there when I need him the most. So maybe it's him. Well, what about this other brother? Well, he seems like, he's always has inspirational words. Maybe it's him. And what if it's me? What if I'm the Messiah? And so each person started thinking about that and started treating each other with respect, with love. How would I serve you if you were the Messiah? How would I serve you if you were the one here to help us all? How would I serve you if you were the one with the answer? How would I treat me if it were me? And so they all started behaving differently and acting differently. And pretty soon, the monks realized that there were some people who were starting to come. They were hanging out, having picnics on the ground, and the younger men were starting to ask about the community, and they started getting more and more people, and it became a vibrant and alive community. Now, they never found the answer. They never knew who it was, but they treated everybody like they were the one. Interestingly enough, Reverend Edward told the story, and later on we were having breakfast, and we were having breakfast in this beautiful, in our hotel, but a beautiful place. And Reverend Edward said, I want to tell you something. Out of all these servers here, one of them is the owner of the hotel. And he said, I'm not going to tell you which one, but honestly and truly, one of them is the owner of this hotel. And interestingly enough, how did everybody treat the servers? Because I can tell you that the servers were treating each and every one of us like we were the one, like we were the special one, like we were the holy one. But that's how people are in Bali. They honor everybody and everything as if it's sacred and holy, because it really is. And it reminded me that here I've forgotten that sometimes. I've forgotten when I walk into my home, it's a temple, it's a sanctuary. When I walk into the grocery store, it's a place of nourishment where I honor my body temple. When I walk into people on the street, that they're a holy person. And so I ask you, how can you go about your day giving acts of service to yourself and your community? How can you step up in a way that's beyond your comfort zone? In a way that may be a little inconvenient for you, but it might just help you find yourself. This week, on Monday, last Monday, it was Martin Luther King holiday. And on Martin Luther King holiday, there's an encouragement of the entire community to do acts of service in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. And so this month, in order to honor the man who gave up his life for us to stop being so discriminatory, for us to realize that every person deserves equal rights, I encourage you to do an act of service. And it can be here, it can be in the greater community. We have plenty opportunities of service here. I need to organize the storage room. We need to go out, and we have little door hangers to put on the community around to tell them that we're here. And we have bulletins that need to be folded. We have coffee that needs to be made. Anything that you can do anywhere. And maybe you could just make some coffee for a loved one, or tea, and invite them over. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters how you come to it. There's I really love learning more about Hinduism, because in Bali they are Hindu. And a lot of people get confused about Hinduism because there's many gods. But the truth is that they're all aspect of the one God. And what I really like is they have a triune aspect. And we teach about the triune nature. We have our Science of Mind symbol has three sections of it. We don't have it up today, but it has 3 sections to it. And yeah, it's in the middle of that banner up there, the Science of Mind symbol. And we teach about the triune nature of the divine here. The triune nature. And what we teach is that there's an infinite aspect that's unformed. And then there's an aspect of the divine that is the creator, that creates. So we have a thought or an idea, and it gets implanted into this aspect of the divine that creates, right? It is that thing that creates, that does. It's the soil. When you plant a seed in it, the soil does the doing. And then we have the bottom half is where the body or the manifestation of the divine shows up. And so everything is started with an idea, and then it goes into the creation, and then it shows up, right? And then it goes back into the cycle. And that's what we teach here at centers like this. And it's similar to how the Christians have the triune nature, right? The Trinity. Well, in Hinduism, they have a trinity as well. They call it the Tridevi, or the triplet. They also have the triplet goddesses. And so they have 3 gods, and 3 equal goddesses that are their partners. And so they honor both the divine masculine and the divine feminine as equals. And they have Brahma. Brahma is the creator god. And his partner is Saraswati. And she is knowledge. So you can't have a creator without the knowledge. And then they have Vishnu, which is the preserver. And he has the goddess Lakshmi, who's the goddess of wealth and prosperity. So in order for things to continue on, for them to thrive, you need to be prosperous, wealthy. And wealthy doesn't always mean money. It can be wealthy in all aspects of your being. And the last aspect, which is something that we don't necessarily talk about as much here, is Shiva. And he is the destroyer god. And he has his partner, which is Kali, who is a powerful destroyer. But Kali also destroys any blocks that are in your way. But this is really a beautiful aspect of looking at life. The creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. The creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. And so in Hinduism, there's a recognition that for new things to come about, things have to be destroyed. And we look at our lives, and our lives start falling apart, and so many of us go, God, why is this happening to me? Why did you do this to me, God? And really what's happening is God is answering your prayers. Your prayers that you want to have a change in your life. You want to live a freer, fuller, more expressed life. And what's happening is the things that are no longer serving you are dying, fading away, being destroyed. Sometimes it's a relationship that you thought you had to have. Sometimes it's your job or your career. But every single time it's falling apart so it can be falling together. And so many of us forget that because it's not comfortable to grow. It's not comfortable to be in the spot of the destroyer. It's not comfortable to have things fall apart around you. But if we can hold on to that idea that it's part of the process, that maybe you called it forth into your life. Maybe you called it forth. There's one more Hindu story that I really like, and it's about 2 sages. And as I told you last week, in Hinduism, there's offerings that are given. And so every meal, you have what you have, but then you make an offering to the divine in gratitude, showing that you got from the divine and you're giving back to the divine. And so these sages were sitting there, and they were in their little happy space, and they saw this beggar. And the beggar came up, and he came holding his begging bowl, and he says, "Oh, pardon me, respectful sages, can I please have some of your food?" And the sages said, "Oh, no. That food is for our God. That food is for our God." And the beggar said, "Well, which God, which deva do you worship?" And they said, "Well, Vayu, also known as Prana, which is the god of the wind, the god of the earth, the air, the god of the air, the breath of life." And the beggar said, "Well, doesn't Prana go throughout the entire universe? Isn't Prana everywhere?" And the sages said, "Well, yes." And the beggar said, "And you're offering this food to Prana, right?" And they said, "Well, yes." And he said, "Well, if Prana is everywhere, then Prana is in me. I am breathing the breath of life right now, and I need some food. And wouldn't you be serving Prana if you were giving me the food?" And the sages were very embarrassed because they realized he was right. He was right. And so they gave him their food, and he ate the food, and then they realized that this beggar was sent to them to show them what it really means to be in service to the divine. And so I ask you again, What is it that you can do for your community? What is it you can do for your friends? What is it you can do for the person that you don't even know? Somebody sitting next to you in the bus? What is it that you can do to uplift them and be of service to them? I invite you to take this on this week, to take it on in every aspect of your life and see what it does for you. Because maybe you'll find a little bit of the spark of who you really are as you serve others. Consider it. Thank you. And so it is. Let's pray. And so knowing right here and now, this is exactly the time and place that the divine has meant for it to be. That the infinite everything, the breath of life, is here, ever present in me, in and through everybody. That there is something bigger that is happening, something divine and holy, and I know that I am a part of it. That each and every person here is a part of it. I know and claim that I walk on holy land, because every land is holy land. I claim that each and every person I meet, I recognize as the Holy One. And so I choose to see the divine in each and every person that I meet, knowing that I am here to uplift and empower those around me. I serve and honor the Most High, knowing that as I do so, the Most High serves and honors me. And so I am humbled to accept and know this truth for myself, to know this for each and every person here, to know that this is an awesome, awe-inspiring life. And as I live this life, as I step into this path of serving, I know that it continues to get better and better. And I see the beauty, the depth, the richness. Even when I'm afraid, I walk through that fear in order to see something more magnificent than I've ever seen before. And so I surrender to that idea that something bigger is happening through me. I surrender to that idea that something bigger is happening through this community. Something profound, something sacred, and something holy. And so as I open up to the awesomeness of it all, I just say, thank you, God. Thank you for this opportunity to be alive, to serve, to walk, to breathe. It is a gift every moment. And so I relish it and I give it away happily, joyfully, knowing that it comes back to me abundantly, because that's the way the divine works in my life and each and every person's life here. And I just say, thank you, God. Thank you. I am honored. I am grateful. And so it is.